Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about the first boss in the Opera Dungeon, or in Dream Song Theater, and his name is, I just call him Kamehameha because that's just how it looks like to me. So anyway, so this boss is relatively simple. It's not too difficult mech-wise to understand the concept. However, it does take some practice for the execution because a lot depends on the timing. But there's gonna be mainly two roles. One person needs to be the designated mark. So the designated mark in this video will be Biscuit. So make sure that the designated mark is the last person to hit the boss. The last person who hits the boss will automatically be the mark. And the job of the mark is basically he needs to SS to all the circles and collect this buff, and at 5 stacks it'll create a protection zone so that the team does not automatically die when the boss jumps on us. And that is the job for the mark. However, let's say you only have 5 people. If you only have 5 people, then it's whoever's in the first circle will automatically be the mark. So technically, if your timing is good, you can have 2 people who get this protection buff in order to save the team. And this has happened multiple times in my runs where I always like to be the first person, just in case the mark dies for unforeseen circumstances. We will still be able to pass the dungeon. Other than the person who is designated as mark, everyone else has to have a designated number, because what the boss will do at 70% and at 30% is he will spawn 5 circles around him. And so everyone has a designated number. So I always take number 1 because I like to be the first person, and everyone else just takes their own designated number. Just make sure you communicate it beforehand, and thus it'll make the run much smoother. And so I'm going to just play the video, and I'm just going to explain what I'm doing as the video runs. So at the very beginning, it's relatively simple. We just want to stay at distance if you're a ranged character, because you don't want to waste your tab escape. You're going to need your tab escape to do the mechanics. So you're just going to DPS the boss until 70%. Another reason why you don't want to stand close to the boss is because at 70%, the boss is going to jump into the middle and he's going to create this shockwave. This shockwave will knock you up. So make sure that you don't stand within this range. I usually like to stand on the edge of this box or the edge of these boxes, the most outer ring box. And it's super safe and you can just DPS very easily. And right after he slams in the middle, everyone should move in towards the boss. The main reason is because he's going to start spawning these circles around him. And these circles will always spawn on these little tips. So you see one here, you see one here, you see one here, you're going to see one there, one there. So the circles are always going to spawn on these tips, and they're always going to spawn clockwise. However, the starting location is always random. That's why you stand in the middle, because if you stand in the middle, the distance that you have to run towards all the different circles is the same. And now we're going to see them spawn the circles. You can see that he's spawning these circles, and depending on what number you are, so for example, I'm number 1, so this is the first circle he spawned, so I need to go into that circle. This is number 2, so whoever's number 2 goes in there, and then there's number 3, which is down there, and so forth and so on. Just make sure that everyone goes into their designated circle. If you are the mark, so for example, Biscuit is the mark, he's going to wait until I step in the circle. It's going to create an island, a little dark island. When it creates a little dark island, then Biscuit can step into it. And you're going to see that happen now. See, I'm going to step into it. There's a lava pool now. Biscuit cannot step into this lava pool. He will automatically die if he does that, so he has to wait a couple seconds. So once it becomes dark like this, now he can go in and he won't die. So now is the part where we have to SS and tab escape. So Biscuit's job is to collect this debuff. Every time he SS away from these pools, he's going to collect 1 debuff. However, it also correlates with the timing of the person's tab escape, because only when the person tab escapes will Biscuit get the buff. So you're going to see here, I do things a little bit differently in my runs because I tab escape at the same time when Biscuit SS. Like we do it at the same time, and there's a small delay, but we both will get the debuff. So you're going to see that now. The main thing, you can see that I'm instantly tab escaping. The nice thing about the Summoners and Warlocks tab escape is it pushes you backwards. So make sure if you're a Summoner or Warlock, you want to have your back facing the next pad that you're going. So you want to be looking this way so that when you use your 2 to tab escape, you automatically fly towards the next pad. And then so the tells that I'm looking here is I'm looking for the boss. First of all, the sword is going to spawn on top, and then the boss is going to phase onto it. The moment the sword fully spawns, that's when I tab escape. That's when I press 2. And you're going to see that. Now I fly over here. And once I finish tab escape, I'll land over here, right? Then I want to run to the edge of the circle and get ready to SS to the next circle. And the moment that me and Biscuit have landed in the circle, this is when the second person, which is Cinder in this video, he will tab escape, because me and Biscuit have both landed in the circle and he needs to tab escape to reset our SS. So you're going to see that. So at the edge of the circle, again, we're waiting for the boss. So here as the mark or as the first person, because I'm also doing a mark, is you want to wait for him to throw his sword into the air. When he throws his sword into the air, it's going to materialize on top of you around like this area. When it fully materializes, then you SS. So you're going to see this now. You see, the moment that it materializes, we SS'd. You want to make sure that you SS, the timing between materializing the sword and the SS is very small, and you want to make sure that you SS as soon as possible, because the moment the person tab escapes in the pool, this dark pool will start closing in. So you'll see that this is very small now. It's become like a little dot. When this fully closes, you will die because of the death zone. So your window of opportunity is very small. But you can also see and pay attention here that now me and Biscuit both have 2 stacks of this debuff. We got one from the first circle and we got another from the second circle. So it's 2. So once we land in the third circle, Nopix is going to tab escape, but he's only going to tab escape when all 3 of us land into the circle. So you're going to see that now. Now we're in, and now Nopix tab escapes because all 3 of us are in the circle. And now we're waiting for the sword to materialize. Once the sword materializes, we're going to start SSing. So you can see now the sword is materializing here, and we're going to SS out now. And you'll see that I now have 3 stacks when I'm landing into the 4th circle. And now the next person, Kupo, who is on the 4th circle, is going to tab escape because all 3 of us have landed into the circle in order to reset our SS. So you're going to see now, he tabs escape. And then the moment he tabs escape, we're still going to wait. Me and Biscuit are going to wait until the sword materializes again. So you see, the moment the sword materializes, we SS into the last circle. So if you pay attention, now the debuff over here has changed. Is changed into this. Instead of having 4 stacks, I get this buff. And when you get this buff and land in the 5th circle, the moment the 5th person tabs escape, it's going to create a second buff. And this buff is going to protect everyone in the party from the death zone. So you're going to see that. Now we're here. So now just pay close attention to my buff bar over here. You're going to see another buff is going to pop up. So we're just waiting. We've all landed. And now Shock, which is the last person, is going to tab escape. The moment his tab escape finishes the animation, we're going to get a buff. And you're going to see a beam of light that shoots up into the sky. And boom. You see? The moment he tab escape, we now have this new buff over here, this 17 seconds, this new buff, and this gives the entire team 17 seconds protection from the death zone. So now over here, you can either use a party protect, such as a home moon block or a self iframe, to protect yourself as the boss slams down. You can also just run across into the death zone and it's perfectly fine. And now you're gonna see the boss crashes down and we're all safe. So now you just DPS the boss and make sure that you stun the boss. The boss's CC bar is going to open soon after and we're going to need to stun him. So you see his CC bars open and we stun. If you don't stun him, he's going to do a 3 room-wide AoE attack, which will hurt a lot. So you really do want to stun him so he doesn't do that attack. So you stun him, and now he's only going to do 1 room-wide AoE attack. It's boom. You can either frost sheath it or just iframe it, whatever. And once you push him to 30%, he's going to jump into the middle of the room and the entire mech phase is going to repeat itself. You're going to see that again. He runs in. We all run into the middle because we're waiting for the swords to spawn. And now we run into position. So here we go. Again, I'm waiting. Boom. The sword has materialized. I'm going to press 2 to tab escape. Right now, boom. I'm going to wait here again. It's materialized SS. Waiting again, materialized SS. So you can see over there on this pad, on the second pad, I was cutting it very close, but I wanted to make sure that I got the stack. As you can see here, I have 3 stacks now. but you have to be very good on the timing on the SS. However, keep in mind that I am playing on 290 ms, so it's not impossible, but the window is very small. So you're gonna see here again, we're gonna wait until the sword materializes and then we SS. And right here, we're gonna get the beam of light and boom, we don't die, we DPS, make sure that we stun the boss, and voila, it's just DPS until he dies. And yeah, that's it. The mechs itself is not very difficult. However, a lot of it really depends on the timing. The timing is very difficult to grasp because the window is quite small. As for everyone that tabs escapes, it's quite simple. Just explain to them, just let them know that the moment everyone lands into their circle, that person needs to tab escape. If they tab escape late, then the people in the circle, their SS won't reset in time and they'll just get killed by the boss. So you just have to be careful of that, and you don't want to tab escape early, because if you tab escape early, then the circle's going to close too fast and people are still going to die. So it's really just the timing between the tab escapes and the SS. Just cutting in here for a second because I realized that there's something that I forgot to mention in the video. The first puddle, I do not recommend using a summoner or a warlock. The reason why it worked in the video that I showed is mainly because even though I was stepping in the puddle and I was number 1, I stole the mark from Biscuit. So because I stole the mark from Biscuit, when Biscuit gets to pool 5, he doesn't actually initiate the golden beam that protects everyone. I'm initiating it. So you could see in the video that I pointed out that I get numbers of stacks and stuff like that. However, if you do that method, Biscuit will not get the stack on the first one. So the mark will be missing 1 stack. And so when you get to the very end, there won't be that beam of light. The only reason why it works in the video or in the guide that I have now is because I took the stack and I did everything perfectly. But if you use a summoner or a warlock on the first pad, they're going to steal the mark. And the reason why you don't put a summoner or warlock on the last pad is because they tab escape, they're going to fly backwards and they're just going to suicide because they won't get the immunity buff in time. So just make sure that if you have a warlock or a summoner in your party, try not to make them do roll 1 or roll 5 unless you're planning to do what I did in the video and replicate that. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hoped it helped. If it did, I would appreciate a subscribe. It really does help out my channel. And yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
What can I say except you're welcome?